Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Sileo, Tales of a New Dawn. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it free on itch.io. But if you want to support the people that make this game and or get the news version earlier, you can go to their Patreon, where it's $5 a month or $54 a year. So, on the last Let's Play, Diego and Kyrix fought it out in the ring, which ended in a tie. And Kyrix is like, well, I'm gonna try and be generous, and also I already have a belt, so Diego, you get this belt. So, reconciliation. Hyena. I think that's pretty much it. And yeah, we're kind of resting after the tournament because it was a long, hard, boost-filled tournament. And yeah, we're all sore. Or at least, Diego and Kyrix are. Should I say my face? Sometimes it's weird for some reason. Come on. As you do this, and then do this. Change my glasses to ever so slightly. Close enough, let's get going. I'm glad Ty suggested having the celebration tomorrow instead. I'm hurting like crazy. If it's any consolation, I'm sure Kyrix is too. You gave him a real thumping. Damn right. He's had that coming for a long time. Anyway, again, how's it feel? Don't rightly know if I'd call it a win. I mean, you came home with the belts. That's a win. It was a tie. I accidentally double-click. It was a tie. Kyrix just let me have the belt. What? He just gave it to you? I think he was trying to ease the guilt, or his guilt or something. He already had one too, after all. On the topic of Kyrix, though, I assume you'd like to know what happened. Well, duh, but only if you feel comfortable telling me. I don't want to put pressure on you and all that. Pressure? Pfft, it's fine. If I were you, I'd really want to know too. Well, I arrived at Ty's. It was closed for the day, so I had to knock, but Ty came out to find me. Kobo Space Program Music. Good morning, Diego. I trust you are well. As well as I can be going into something like this. Is he here yet? No, you are the first to arrive. Shall we sit down and wait for him? Ugh. Kind of wanted to get this done with, you know? Waiting for him just makes me more nervous. I'm afraid there is little we can do. What if he chickened out? I somehow doubt it. He gave me his word, and no reason to doubt that. Besides, I have heard his story. I know he has some things he want to get off his chest. Can't imagine that. Anyway, shall we? Ty motions to the booth in the middle of the bar. I noticed and followed. I nodded and followed behind him, taking my seat with both in the booth as Ty took his position that would be sitting between us. It must be said, it's very grown up of you to agree to be here. I cannot say I was expecting it. I expected you to be very childish and to not be here. It wasn't what I wanted. I'm sure it wasn't what you wanted either, but at the very least, once this is done and dusted, perhaps you'll leave this whole thing alone. That is my intention. And for what it's worth, I am sorry. Adrian gave me quite a lecture about it. I was a little too caught up in my own head to realize how I was making you both feel. I am a fixer. Rather than come whatever may, I prefer to step in and try and ensure the best possible outcome. But it's not always my place to do so, and my fixing may be doing more damage than what I'm trying to repair. I have to say, that is one thing I do hate about myself that I kind of feel like developed by playing video games, where it's like, is there a problem somewhere? well, I gotta be proactive and do the thing to fix it. But then it's like, well, sometimes in some aspects of life, the best thing to do is nothing. You know? Yeah, someone's my face. Seriously? Yeah, close enough, whatever. Well, I'm glad you've got that figured out. You said no more secrets, right? You're gonna stay out of our business? I cannot promise no more secrets in the broader sense, but I can promise I will not interfere, nor keep things from you like I have been doing. What's that supposed to mean? I'm just dotting my I's and crossing my T's, as it were. But never mind that. We have a visitor. Ty slid back out of his chair and made his way to the door. Through the glass, I could see a familiar face. Ty pulled the door ajar, allowing Carrick's inside before locking it once more. He then made his way back to his chair, sliding back to his original position as Carrick's took his immediately opposite of me. Thank you both for coming. I'm pleased you agreed to this meeting. Carrick scowled. He was clearly no more pleased to be here than I was. Ty continued. Would either of you like refreshments before we begin? On the house? Of course. Bourbon. Right you are. Diego? I'm fine. Of course, one moment. There's another thing I do like about this game, that there is, a character that does have problems with drinking and stuff like that. Because it's like, hey, that is a real issue in society, and, it's good to see a bit of representation stuff. It ain't like ye to turn down a free drink. I quit. Did ye? Your new boy's influence, no doubt. Something like that. There was an uncomfortable silence between us, as we sat there, waiting for Ty's return. Thankfully, he wouldn't be gone for long. Here we are, Carrick's. Carrick's tipped the glass in appreciation before taking a large sip. Now, I've heard both sides of this story, but I don't believe either of you have. I think there are some things neither of you quite understood in this relationship. Therefore, it may be my hope that you both can tell your stories plainly and truthfully. Once you've heard both in their entirety, we can pick at the details. Does this sound adequate? Fine. Alright. Excellent. Diego, would you like to start? Not really, but if I must, start where? How about when you two first met? Tell me how that went. Please, be thorough and detailed. I sighed. Here goes nothing. Well, this was about 9 months ago. I'd been living in Woodcrest for a while at that point. Back in university, I had to spend a lot of time at the gym there, keeping fit, But since moving here, I'd, gotten a bit depressed, I guess. I hadn't been to the gym since then, so I figured, hey, why not sign up at the local one? So I did that. Kind of got back into the swing of things for a few days. Then, I met this guy. Might I ask why you were depressed? At first I thought it was just the stress of the new place. But once I settled in, I still felt that way, so I thought maybe I was just lonely. Didn't know many people. I didn't have long to wait before I had made some friends, but as much as I enjoyed the company, I still felt a little down all the time. At the time, I didn't really understand it. But when I met Kyrex, at least right in the beginning, I felt happy. Didn't last long, but for a short moment, everything was alright. Could it have been that you were missing Adrian? Yeah, I already figured all that out. I spent the previous couple of years crushing on him, but I was too stupid to act on it. Moving here, it feels like a piece of me was missing. But I was stupid. I didn't understand. That's why I felt the way I did at the time. Even after I met Kyrex, I still didn't get it. Now that Adrian's here again, with me, I finally understand. I see. How did that go? Kyrex was nice, at least in the beginning. He, showed an interest. I felt as though he cared about what I had to say, and how I felt, all of that. He presented himself as a motivated, amazing person. A little rough around the edges, sure. A little crude, definitely. But with him, at least back then, I felt like I could do anything. I got really into the gym at that point, not much because of my own goals, but because he'd be there. I still felt sad on my own, but when he was there, I stopped feeling sad. Why do you think that was? I guess it's the excitement and anticipation you feel when you start dating someone, you know? Back then, I kept thinking of the future and what it might hold. Silly sappy things, like those little relationship milestones and all the amazing stuff that we could achieve together. Having that in my life, I didn't feel down anymore. When did I ever agree to date you? Huh? I meant what I said, into the question. He pondered this for a while, but he couldn't rightly recall the answer. It was some point early on. I just didn't know exactly when it was. I don't remember exactly. Early on. Now, you see, that's bullshit. Carrick's, please be calm. Carrick closed his eyes and took a few deep breaths. Ty had evidently taught him a few new tricks leading up to the conversation. The Carrick I knew was prone to just explode. Gentlemen, please. Diego, would you like to continue your story? Honestly, I want to know what Carrick's talking about. I understand, but we are getting ahead of ourselves. Please, just trust me on this. I would like for you to continue your story. And Carrick's, please do not interrupt until he is finished. Fine. What did Carrick's mean? Of course he did. We're together for 9 months. Ty had his firm gaze fixated on me. For now, I had no choice but to continue as he desired. Alright, well, we started, getting intimate. Pretty quickly, actually. It was a few days after we first met. There was all this tension between us, and, well, I can't say I'm proud to admit we did it right there in the gym. Locker rooms, to be exact. That was our first time, and second, and third. It became a near daily occurrence. After a while, I started inviting him to other places, like out to lunch and whatever. It would always turn sexual, one way or another, but I didn't really mind. You, Carrick's? Carrick sighed, but said no more, allowing me to continue. Well, we went back to my place a lot. It was a lot of fun, at first, but once we'd, done the deed, he was pretty quick to excuse himself. That was maybe the first sign of a problem, so I tried to invite him to lots of different places, include him in my daily life, all of that. Asked to see his house. I never saw his house. You can't make any excuses about it, but I got the feeling he just didn't want me to go there. In hindsight, I'd have probably found something I didn't want to see, such as evidence he wasn't being faithful. Carrick looked highly irritated, but knew by now better by now to interrupt. Anyway, during those early days, we hung out heaps, went to lots of places together, worked out together nearly every day, but the cracks started showing pretty soon. One day, I was working for Lucas. This was before Carrick started there. I told the guys about my new boyfriend. He got mad when he found out. Oh? Saying stuff like, why are you telling people about us? It's none of their business. We had a few scuffles before then, and this is our first real fight. Even worse, it wasn't long after I got him the job for Lucas. Carrick especially wouldn't tolerate relationship talk at work. He acted as though we were strangers. It hurt, We'd been together like a month and a half at that point. I wanted to tell the world, but he wasn't having any of it. I looked towards Carrick's, who was tuned out, finishing his drink already, and not paying a great deal of attention to what was being said. Evidently, Ty noticed this. Carrick's, might I ask that you pay attention? Why? This is all bullshit anyway. Ain't no point. Carrick's. What? Diego is being honest. Please, just listen. I'm sorry, Diego. Please continue. Well, as time went on, he started to withdraw a bit. Our daily meetings dwindled to a couple of times a week. Then once a week. Then once every two. He'd make more and more convincing to come. Oh, he'd take more convincing to come. He was responsive if I promised sex, at least to start with, but eventually even that worked no more. It was tough. My boyfriend didn't want to spend any time with me. We fought about that too, and as time went on, he kinda, well, got mean. I'd see less and less of him, and when I did see him, he was a total dick. He stopped responding to my messages. He wouldn't be at the gym at his usual times, and it's not like I could visit him at his home either. I felt abandoned. And when I did see him, he was an abusive dick. He was off sleeping with other dudes, ignoring me, and didn't even have the decency to call things off first. In the end, he wasn't the person I thought he was. I feel like he just got together with me for sex. He didn't want me for anything else, and when he had his fill, he just ghosted. So then, I confronted him one day. He was on assignment for Lucas. I knew where he'd be. I called him out on all the bullshit he put me through, and have him an ultimatum. And, well, you know how that went down. We broke up there, and that was that. Thank you for your honesty, Diego. Carix, how do you feel about this? You know how I feel. It's all complete bullshit. So you say. Then, can we hear your side of the story? You guess so. It was what I agreed to. Reckon I can get another drink first? Very well. Ty got up to prepare another bourbon for Carix, leaving the two of us facing one another, Carix scowling at me intensely. You really think everyone's gonna buy that sob story? It's the truth. It ain't the goddamn truth. It's your fucked up, oh woe is me version of the truth. Version of history that makes ye look like a saint. If that isn't the truth, then what is? Tyre turned to the table, handing Carix his drink, which he instantly took a big gulp without breaking eye contact with me. Ty could sense the troubled atmosphere, decided to push ahead anyway. Well, it's going to be interesting how this turns out from, this to the thing afterwards. Let me just shake my face once more. There you go. Carix, maybe hear your version of events? Thought you'd never ask. So, the beginning sounds about right. Saw this guy at the gym, new blood and all that. I thought to myself, hey, wouldn't mind a piece of that. So I did what I do. Started chatting him up, all that. Got what I wanted pretty quickly. Invited him to some group stuff, but he wasn't having it. Said all this stuff about he ain't into that. All the more for me, I guessed, yeah. So, that went on for a bit, alongside the other stuff. Wait, you were cheating on me from day one? Now, you see, you're interrupting this time. Answer the question. I ain't never cheated on nobody. Then, what the fuck did you mean by... You can't cheat when you ain't in no relationship. What? You're over here giving me a sob story about your abusive ex. How could it be your ex? I was never your boyfriend in the first place. I didn't understand. What was he? You? Me? We never dated. We slept together. I never agreed to anything else. You did that on your own. What the fuck are you talking about? Gentlemen, I feel as though we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Carix, would you please finish your story before you get down to the brass tacks? Fine. So, we slept together, Most of the guys I slept with were in groups, did singles here and there. Dago was one of my repeats. It weren't nothing more than that to me. But he started getting, well, high maintenance. Wanted a lot from me. Kept calling me up, asking me places and all this. It became a chore, busy work to get what I was after. Then he started saying we're a couple, telling people about us. It's like I said, I never signed up for that. So yeah, I weren't happy about it. Didn't think there were a question as to why. About that point, he started picking fights, getting real difficult, demanding more and more from me. I didn't know what to do at this point. I thought I'd put my dick in crazy, to tell you the truth. Like I picked up some crazy, needy stalker or something, so I backed the hell off. But, I was stupid. Gotta be honest, the sex was great. Kept thinking with my little head, if you know what I mean. Went back a few times, shouldn't have, but shit kept escalating. Eventually, even little head couldn't convince me to go near that whole trash fire, and I know this is gonna sound real shitty, but got easier as he gained weight. At that moment, I had too much swirling through my head to even process that comment. I should have been furious, but I felt as though things were starting to make some sense. Shitty indeed, but it is in our nature to have types and preferences. Well, you know this already, Ty, but I was never good at the whole talking thing. I tried a couple of times to talk, but we just never quite figured it out. He was pissed and crazy. So I distanced myself further and further. But he just kept following me more and more. Kept popping up all over the damn place. Thought I'd have to move out of town or something. I didn't know what else to do. So yeah, I know it was shitty of me, but I tried to make it obvious as possible I didn't want him around. I was a dick to him. Figured he'd get the message. Eventually he did. Like, a few months later. He confronted me one day, gave me like an ultimatum. Kinda like he said, I guess. Saying all this shit that didn't make any sense. I laughed. I didn't know what to say. Like, fuck no, I didn't want to fix shit. I want you out of my life. That's all I wanted for months. So, he got the hint. Hooked up with his new boy, like a couple weeks later. Was a huge fucking relief, gotta say. Could actually go back to my normal life without worrying about running into him. Wasn't all relief though, as you know. Indeed. Just so you know, the reason Kyrix and I began talking is that I felt guilty. I had heard what I had heard, and mentioned that to Lucas. That must have played a role in Kyrix losing his job. That night, out in the rain, Kyrix told me about his money issues. He was struggling for rent, food, all of that. They had cut his power already due to a late bill. I felt somewhat responsible. And I do want to note that, like, I'm not sure if I want to go back or something like that, but they changed a scene partway through where, like, I think Ty runs into Kyrix and added a CG for that. I'm thinking I might go change a little bit of that. I'm not sure. Unfortunately, I don't think this game has that thing where it's like, hey, you've read this thing before. But, yeah. And, well, hearing his side of things, the picture started to become clear. It is like I have said to Adrian, you both have told the truth from your perspectives, but those perspectives are wildly different, and your lack of success in communicating prevented either of you from truly figuring that out. I don't... The horrible thing is that suddenly, it all kind of made sense. To him, if some crazy, clingy sexual partner gone wrong, I had taken his initial willingness to spend time with me and to be intimate as something it wasn't. and critically misread the room right from day one. But why? I already knew why. It was because of Adrian. I was still fixated on him. The one that got away. I was trying to fill that empty space in my heart. Trying to replace him. Trying to find somebody that made me feel like I did when he was around. And I fooled myself into thinking I had. Found the first person that gave me an inch and took a mile from them. Diego, do you understand? Carrix, you both went through this thinking it was something different from what the other believed. From your perspective, Diego seemed crazy. But knowing what he felt, what he thought, do you still believe that? I don't know. I don't understand why. I can understand that. I was trying to replace Adrian. I had figured this out already, mind you, but I know it makes sense. It now makes sense. I clung to what I wanted, instead of the reality of the situation. I was desperate, depressed, longing, lonely. So, when Carrick seemed interested in me, I leapt at the chance. But he's right. Thinking back, I don't think we ever really decided between us what it was. So I went in thinking one thing. Carrick's went in thinking another. I figured we were on the same page, but we weren't. As tensions grew, it got harder to communicate. Harder for us to actually figure out what the hell was going on. So to me, he was a neglectful abuser, and to him, I was a clingy psycho. But I'm not that. I know I'm not. Carrick sighed and took a big gulp from his glass before clearing his throat. You know, this is kind of awkward for me, but I ain't proud of how I treated ye. It was stupid. I didn't know what else to do. And I've been meaning to say. That night at the festival, I saw ye, and it all came flooding back to me. I panicked. Treated ye like I had been, even though you weren't no threat to me no more. I'm sorry. It was shitty. I ain't gonna excuse it. And for the rest of it too. The whole thing, I just ain't good at this sort of thing. Thank you. I didn't think I wanted an apology. Mostly because I didn't expect it to be genuine, but, well, I appreciate it. And for what it's worth, I'm sorry too. I fucked up big time. I know that now. I just didn't see it before. Didn't understand it. You've been through enough without me adding to it. Oh? Carrix, would you mind elaborating on what he means? Guess I ain't told you that part. My bad. He's talking about my childhood. Shit was rough. Not that I'm making it an excuse, of course. I know a little, enough to know that you had it rough. If you wouldn't mind sharing, I would like to hear it directly from the horse's mouth, though. This ain't no sob story, and I don't want people thinking I'm sitting here trying to excuse anything. I acted shitty, no matter what happened for that. I'm glad you understand that. But seeing as we are here, perhaps telling us both the detail will help us know you better. Alright, you brought this on yourselves. Well, people knew me as a kid. People who knew me as a kid say I couldn't be any more different. When I was kind, a heart of gold, and all that. If I tripped, I'd cry for the longest time. You know, classic crybaby. May not believe it, but I was something of a runt too. Mom was great. She picked me up when I fell, taught me all of life's lessons. But him, the man I refused to call my father. Well, you don't want to hear it. The point is, she and I went on the run from him, moving from town to town. I was in his school every few months. He tracked us down relentlessly. Spent a lot of time in shelters, or leaving in her car. But no matter how often we moved, he'd sometimes still find us. I was scared. Constantly. Mom was too. Not just that, but the kids in the school were tough on me. I struggled to make friends, and no matter which school I moved to, there'd always be those that'd pick on me. I remember one of the schools had a strict no fighting policy. Sounds good, right? It weren't. Just meant I got the shit kicked out of me, then got in trouble for fighting. I always fucking hated that as a kid, because it's like, as a kid, if you were bullied, or if I was bullied, like, teachers would kind of be like, look the other way. Or the thing that I think I remember, but it's like decades ago, would be, don't be a tattletale. I want to strangle a teacher that would say that. It's like, this kid's being bullied, and you're being like, don't tattletale? Bitch. But then, there would always be the thing where it would cause trouble if you fought back, because, it's not being bullied. Now it's a fight. Cunts. Anyways, to make it worse, spent nearly a year at that one. I used to run to the adults for protection, but after that, I didn't trust them neither. The only person I could rely on was me and Mom. So, first year high school, my father was arrested for a litany of things. We're no longer on the run for once, and, well, puberty hit, and I grew. God damn did I grow. Went from scrawny nothing to 6'4" in the space of like a year. Turned things back on those bullies pretty damn quick. Got me expelled at 15. Funny how that works, eh? At that point, Mom had fallen ill, both physically and mentally. She was the only person I cared for. The only person who was ever in my corner. I started working right out of school to support us both. She died 4 years ago. Suicide. I kinda ran away. Here to Woodcrest, to start over. Got into the gym and all that then. Sorta rebuilt my life. It's been a rocky ride, but yeah, that's the short version, seeing as he asked. I knew it was bad, but... sorry, Kyrex. Nah, don't worry about it. Can't change the past. Although, curious why you wanted to know. There is a reason. Just trust me. How about you, Diego? We know you went to university in the city and moved here. What about before that? Well, if you're expecting as dramatic as Kyrex is, something as dramatic as Kyrex is, you'd be disappointed. Normal, well-adjusted family, mostly. 2 brothers, Sam and Isaac, good kids. Ain't seen them in years. I visited them before I moved out here, but it's been a couple of years all the same. Woodcrest is pretty far from home. Do you miss them? Of course, it's been too long. Where do they live exactly? Seaton, on the northeastern coast. It's where I grew up, more than a day's trip by train. I keep meaning to go see them, but, well, life. Money, you know how it is. Indeed. I think you showed me a picture of them once. Looked like you had a good relationship. Did I? I don't remember. Yeah. They looked like little ewes. One of them had this long-ass shaggy head of hair. Oh yeah, Sam still got that. Don't know where he got that from. I could never grow it much further than his. I noticed Ty's smile as he leaned back on the seat. Kyrex and I locked eyes before turning back to him, having dawned on just what Ty was playing at. Hey, what are you playing at? Was this your plan all along? Indeed. Look at the two of you, just chatting. My heart swells with joy. Kyrex grumbled, clearly annoyed that Ty had gotten in his way. But by this point, I wasn't surprised in the slightest. That sort of trickery was the usual for Ty. It was weird, but for a moment there, I remembered Kyrex as he was when we first met. Perhaps we were never truly in a relationship, depending on your definition. But one thing's for sure. Once upon a time, the two of us are friends. It was a confusing and uncomfortable pang of nostalgia. Before any of this shit went down. Before we hated each other's guts. But I suppose if we'd never been able to be friends, none of this wouldn't have been possible in the first place. But the two of you understand now, right? Diego, do you think you're ready to put this behind you? I mean, sort of. Just because I don't understand doesn't mean it never happened, you know? I agree with him. For a change, we've both been through a lot. You just can't just undo that. But I gotta admit, for a moment just now, I kinda got like a weird, familiar vibe just now. Whatever do you mean? I guess what I'm saying is, he and I were friends once. None of this would have ever happened if we weren't. Guess I kinda missed it, deep down. Him and me, just talking, I missed it. It's kinda stupid, after everything. I guess friends are in short supply, or something. It's been kinda getting lonely. I just wish the shit hadn't gone so messy. I hate that you're right, and I hate that I agree with you. In the beginning there, we did get along really well, in fact. Maybe that had something to do with why I mistook it all as something it wasn't. That, and depression, and my own loneliness. Shit, it's all so fucked up. Why? Why'd it have to be like this? Does it? Knowing what you know now, could it not be different? Could you put all this behind you and start anew? I don't know. Guess I gotta think about that one a bit. Ty rolled up his sleeve and checked his watch before returning to the conversation. Thinking will have to wait, I'm afraid. As it would have it, the three of us may have gotten a little carried away. We're running late. Eh? Shit, the final. Oh crap, I'd completely forgotten. Well then, gents, how about we get on our way, and the two of you can settle your remaining differences in a good old-fashioned tussle. I don't much like it when you call it that, but alright. Yeah, let's get a move on. I bet Adrian is freaking out by this point, wondering where we are. Indeed, I'd expect no less. Whew. I was like, we should be around the 30-minute marks. Yeah, we kind of blew past that. But, yeah, that's going to be the end of this Let's Play. I would like to thank you all for watching. And yeah, relationship stuff sucks. I was thinking, like, was it this year or last year? I think it might have been this year. It's kind of funny, I was looking through my phone, and I came across the contact of somebody that used to be a very close friend of mine, and then, I don't know, a couple of years back, it was the friends that, I don't know, I was a dick to, but he was ghosting me a whole bunch. I was just like, I don't know why, and stuff like that. It was kind of that thing where I'm like, I asked my friend, hey, I found this person, here's this story, should I contact him? And something like that, and they're like, yeah, no, just leave that stuff behind. Like, sometimes when I think about him, I'm still like, oh, this guy's a bit of a fucker. Or I'm envious and jealous in a way, but then also it's like, yeah, that shit kind of got fucked. I don't know. Like, I'm a bit pissed at him, but also it's like, yeah, probably, I don't know. I have no business. I mean, I was a dick, but also it's like, maybe I wasn't seeing everything. I don't know. It was just kind of the thing where it's like, I would always be left on red within 24 hours, but then it would always say that he's busy or something like that. It's like, you can't just say hi back or respond to something? Abandonment. Hyena. I don't know. I didn't really contact him afterwards because we just kind of had, fights and reconciliation fights again, stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, if it's anything like other stuff, I don't want to just go back to fighting him. I have to try and reconcile, but it do be like that. Anyways, enough of my sad backstory and stuff. That's gonna be the end of this Let's Play. So, please comment, guys. I like comments. Damn what you like, dislike, tips, tricks, otherwise. Does this speed into the future? Okay, so it doesn't, but if I do this, okay, it does do that. Huh. Okay. I wonder how far in the past was that? Okay, there was that fight. Fuck, where is that whole scene? Officially boyfriend, swimming training, meet Russell, Diego eating, right, Spencer, endurance training, Carrick's, talks with Ty. Was it that one? I could quickly poke around. I mean, we're over time, so what is a woof gonna do woof? Yeah, working with Ty, Kyrex is there. Does that one have the CG? Yeah. Cabin in the woods. Gym equipment. I'd have to be looking around for that. Because that was when Ty dropped us off. At one time, and then saw Kyrex on the side of the road. Is that one? No, because he's with me. Oh, no. Would like to roll over that one. Maybe at the end of this series, at least for Diego's route, we'll go back and take a look at that, if I can find it. Because it do be like that sometimes. So anyways, end of this Let's Play, so comment. Guys, I like comments, tell me what you like, dislike, tips, tricks, otherwise. If you like my YouTube and would like to grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out other videos to help it grow. And please remember to spay and to neuter your animals to help control the pet population. And if you want to play this game, it's available for free on itch.io. But if you want to support the people that make this game and or get the news version earlier, then you can go to their Patreon, where it's $5 a month and $54 a year. And until next time, another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix, of Sileo Tales of a New Dawn. I'm still looking for that. Ooh, but there's that sex scene there. Hyena. So anyways, thanks and see ya.